We're here today at the reality-based training center of the Albuquerque Police Department, and they've done an amazing job helping us make this a live scenario. So today's scenario, we had a 16-year-old child victim that was in a relationship with a 19-year-old that they broke up, and that breakup didn't go well. The 19-year-old male showed up at the home and forcefully took the 16-year-old into the car, and when her father intervened, he brandished a gun and took the 16-year-old away. Our field services officers responded to the initial scene, were able to enter the juvenile into NCIC and called out our detectives. An Amber Alert was issued based on the criteria, and that went out statewide for the Amber Alert. In addition to that, we had our Field Services Bureau and our detectives partner up and search the immediate area as required by our policies, the schools, frequent places, neighborhoods, and they canvassed that area. Eventually, the scenario culminated in the fact that our Field Services Bureau found the vehicle and conducted a high-risk stop, and where the suspect was taken into custody and the 16-year-old was safely recovered. So there's four main criteria that initiates an Amber Alert set by state law. The first is that the missing person has to be under the age of 17. The second is that they've been abducted, meaning forcefully abducted, not just a runaway or a walk away. So the abduction is the second criteria. The third criteria is that we have reasonable information about the missing person and the abductor, right? There's a danger of harm or death to the individual, to the missing person. So the initial responses by the Field Services Bureau, and they're the ones that actually do the preliminary investigation and then calls the on-call missing persons detective or sergeant. Based on those criteria, it would initiate a call out for the unit, and then from that point, that juvenile, the missing person, is entered into NCIC immediately within the first 2 hours, and then the response goes from there based on the criteria of the missing person's call out, and then of course the Amber Alert itself. Our detectives in the missing person unit have a very large volume of cases of missing persons, ranging from adults to minors to seniors, that they handle on a daily basis, and that joint work between the Field Services Bureau and our detectives happens daily. Fortunately for us, we don't have a lot of Amber Alerts, and coming into Balloon Fiesta, major events within the city, today's event was to sharpen our skill set to make sure that we're prepared if that event does happen. Anything can help. Little things that we think may be minor, it can sometimes break a case open for us. So being an observer, things of license plates, vehicles, just oddities that aren't normal in your neighborhood, those things can help us. We're also in an age of technology, and so when we talk about social media and the representation of how our kids communicate online, just even changes in behavior that way can help us in these investigations as well. So the Amber Alert it was nationwide. Matter of fact, there was a nationwide testing of that system today. But specifically, the Department of Public Safety, the New Mexico State Police are the ones that issue that out. That goes out to all media resources, as well as our cell phones, and then radio broadcast as well.
Take a photo of what your child is wearing before you go into those events, because nothing is better for us to know exactly what your kid's wearing and what they look like at that time with a current photo. A lot of times what we end up with is a school photo that their hair's changed and they're not sure what's going on. We understand Balloon Fiesta occurs early in the morning. We don't know what we're wearing, let alone what our kids are wearing at 4 o'clock in the morning. So take that moment, if you're waiting in traffic, take that photo of your kid at that time. Hopefully you don't have to use it, but if you do, all of the law enforcement agencies around, that's the best photo to share.